Welcome back to the studio, I'm Laura. Today, while I unpack these new art supplies and do some painting, as well as cleaning my new studio space, I wanted to talk a bit about how music can either help or hinder your creativity. As I mentioned before in some of my previous videos, I am always listening to music or podcasts on my headphones while I'm creating. I wanted to do a bit of research into that, and it was pretty interesting to learn more about. Right now I'm just unpacking some new Liquitex acrylics that I got recently. I just needed to stock up a few of my go-to colors, and I also treated myself to this new pencil and a new paintbrush. I think it's always good to treat yourself to some new art supplies, and you can see here I got this new red, and I've been using this naphthol red since I started painting, and I figured I would be able to mix better purples if I got a different red, so that will be cool to try out in my future paintings. I got to reconfigure some things in my house recently as well, so now I have more space for my studio. That is a big improvement since now I have a room that is just to myself. Overall, there's just fewer distractions and I'm really enjoying it. And now I'm just organizing my extra paints that I have. I like to keep them stocked up since I don't like to have to go into the city more than necessary to get more paints. And I'd also like to do at least 35 paintings this year, which is what I did last year, so I do know it's possible. But I just want to keep my stash of paints all stocked up and organized. But to go back to the whole conversation about how our music that we listen to affects creativity, I'm definitely guilty of listening to music and podcasts while I'm painting and drawing and cleaning and doing pretty much anything. In all of my video footage, you'll most likely see me wearing my headphones that I just got this year. I did a lot of research about how music affects creativity, and the overall consensus is that it depends on the person. It's a very personalized experience, and if music works for you, then listen to music. It's said that music that is upbeat, cheerful, positive, and vibey has the highest positive effect on our creativity and motivation. Personally, I half agree because I do find that I get a lot of inspiration from sad music as well. The collection that I'm currently working on, The Four Seasons, was inspired by the song This Is What Autumn Feels Like by Jake, which is arguably a kind of sad song. And I listened to that song on loop for hours and hours, because when a new song comes out, I'm going to listen to it forever. So it was definitely because of a quote-unquote sad song that I came up with something that was definitely original for me and will, in the next month or so, have resulted in 4 paintings that will be my biggest paintings yet. I definitely go through phases where sometimes I'll be obsessed with listening to a specific genre or a specific artist or one specific song, so I'll listen to that for days, hours, weeks, however long it may be, and then suddenly I just only want to listen to podcasts. I find that when I listen to podcasts, it gives me a few more things to think about, and sometimes painting can be a little underwhelming if I'm just, filling the space. Music can just be that one boost that you need to just get started on a project, whether that be a new painting or even finishing a painting. It can be a little arduous at times, a little boring, and when you listen to some good music, it can get you excited to finish a project, and this is a method that I use basically every day to keep going and completing my tasks. Another purpose that music serves is getting into the mood of whatever you're painting. So besides maybe if a song is the original inspiration, it can also help you keep working on a painting, especially if it's taking you a really long time and you just need that mental boost to keep going and finish the project. So I think we've concluded that music does have a lot of benefits. Music can help you have motivation to get more things done and give you some inspiration for new creative ideas. However, are there any bad things that come out of listening to music on a daily basis? The short answer, yes. I listen to music far more than I probably should. My headphones are practically glued to my head, and I don't think this is as beneficial as I may have made it out to be. While listening to music definitely helps me accomplish more tasks, maintain motivation, and keep creating, I do think that having things playing in my ears all day probably takes away some opportunity for more original thoughts. I could probably work on finding more balance between silence and spending time in my own thoughts versus just listening to music all the time when I'm creating, thinking, writing, drawing, whatever it may be. I do think that silence is a good thing, and learning how to be okay with your own thoughts and just thinking, having a personal conversation with yourself, is something that more people could work on, especially people in my peer group. Having headphones on all the time can also prove harmful when it comes to family life. You know, the people that are around you all the time, maybe they don't get to talk to you as much as they would like, or maybe you don't talk to them as much as you would like, simply because you're listening to music or a podcast all the time. Something I do work on is, if there's other people around, I try to have my headphones off, unless they're also busy, because having face-to-face human interactions is very important, especially if you're an artist such as myself, who spends a lot of time alone. As artists, we should be prioritizing getting out and seeing friends and people outside of the house, because if you avoid people for too long, you will lose some of your interpersonal skills, and it's not healthy for humans to be hiding away in our homes for hours and hours a day or every week without seeing or talking to anybody, because interpersonal skills are something that will diminish if you don't practice them. I really do find it challenging to find time, to make time to get out of the house and see my friends, go places and whatnot, especially since last year I quit my job in fast food, and that job was so beneficial for my interpersonal skills, my speaking abilities, and it was definitely very beneficial for my art business as well. I'm seriously considering getting another job outside of my house, just part-time, sometime in the next, year or so, because it's so easy to not see people, to just stay home and then avoid people. Your interpersonal skills will diminish, and it's not helpful for my business purposes as well. As an artist, you need to be able to talk to people and advocate for your art, because as much as people may say this, your art doesn't speak for itself. You need to speak for your art, especially if you want to make sales. Speaking for your art is crucial, so it's really important to keep any interpersonal skills that you can learn, and possibly doing a program such as Toastmasters or anything of that sort to improve your speaking on the spot. What I'm getting at is, don't let your music keep you from meeting people, talking to people, and don't let it prevent you from improving how you interact with people. Balance between talking to people and listening to music, meeting new people, and hearing other people's thoughts is so important, especially as a creative person where you have to be coming up with new ideas, new techniques, new original things. If you stay locked up in your house with your Spotify as your only friend, it will not help you in the long run. I do want to go into a little more detail about the painting that I'm working on here today, which is the Four Seasons second painting, Spring. In my last video, I finished up the painting Summer. It's been an interesting experience working on these paintings, since they are the biggest size that I've ever done for paintings, which is 24 by 48. And I'm not quite sure if I enjoy doing big paintings or not yet. I'm going to finish the collection before I make any decisions about that. I'm especially on the fence because about halfway through working on this painting, I had to stop working on it and do 2 paintings for the Enderby Open exhibition that the 2 little paintings will be in next week. and I really enjoyed doing smaller paintings, so now I'm even less sure about how I feel about doing bigger paintings. While I did those 2 paintings for the Enderby exhibition, I figured out a lot of stylistic choices with just the color and the brushwork that I will be implementing into spring later along the line before I finish it, and I think I'm gonna like the outcome of it a bit more than summer, so I'm pretty excited to finish this one actually. I also got this small sponge roller set. I saw it and I was like, oh yes, that would be perfect to cover space a bit quicker on these big canvases, just to, fill in the toothiness of the canvases. Yeah, it's very effective. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the texture that it leaves. I do eventually add some more painterly looking brushwork and more variety in the color. At the current state that it's in, I'm quite happy with it, which you'll see later. I was also excited to finally paint some flowers, specifically these roses and tulips that are on the flower cart in the painting. My stylistic goals for this year are to use more painterly brushwork and also be a bit more intentional with the color and the variety of the color. The way that I started doing this painting was all hand-mixed colors, but then later, I was working on it in, like the past week, I just wanted to amp it up, so I added in more blues, more purples, which really gave it something that it was lacking with my hand-mixed colors. I feel I'm finally getting the hang of how I want my colors to look in my paintings, which is really exciting because it is a very defining part of someone's style is the colors that they choose, and it's really nice to have some more direction with how I want my paintings to look. I suppose I totally glossed over the fact that I have 2 paintings that are going to be in a gallery next week, which is really exciting. It's my first gallery ever that I will be a part of. It is the Enderby Courtyard Gallery here in British Columbia, Canada. If you can swing by or if you live nearby to go and see them, it would be amazing if you wanted to go see them in person. Otherwise, I will have them in my next YouTube video. I got tons of footage of working on those 2 paintings that I'm excited to share because I feel I made a lot of progress with where I want to take my style in those 2 paintings. So again, it is the Enderby Courtyard Gallery's open exhibition, and my paintings will be up from February 6th to March 2nd, 2024. If you want to go check it out, I will put the links to the website with the address in the description. This year, I really want to get paintings into as many exhibitions as possible. That's just this year's goal, and I'm still open for commissions and wedding paintings as well, if anyone is interested in those. I do pet portraits, people portraits, or if you have ideas for anything similar, I would love to paint for you. And my website is also linked in the description. If you wanted to commission a painting, that's where you would do that. Please leave me a comment below about your thoughts on listening to music while creating, maybe what genre of music you listen to, and also if there's any other things you'd like to hear me talk about. I think there are a lot of good things and changes that I was able to make in this painting from the last one, and especially from working on the 2 paintings for the Enderby exhibition. I did have to put this painting on hold for a little bit just to do those 2 paintings, and I'm really glad that I did because I learned a lot of things that I will be implementing into this painting to finish it up. I have some other exciting plans coming up for the future months, so stay tuned to hear about those. Let me know if you have a chance to check out the Enderby exhibition, and until next time, happy painting!